Hello, august Toastmasters and guests. Could you please close your eyes? Imagine you're driving from LA to Las Vegas, and about 40 minutes ago you noticed the slow gas warning light went on. You know this light likes to lie, but since you have been driving already for quite a few miles, you know that you should trust that light already. Now you see a road sign which says there is a gas station at the next exit. And it also warns you there will be none for the next 30 miles. Now please raise your hand if you will decide to ignore this sign and keep moving. Okay, you can open your eyes. I'm happy to report there is only one who would do what my husband did when we were driving to Las Vegas. Why he did it? He was hoping for a voice. And as we're still driving toward Las Vegas, consuming the last drops of gasoline we have in our tank, I will tell you what this word means, why it's so inherently Russian, and what in it for you and for me living in the United States. The word voice is impossible to translate into any other language on the earth. None of other cultures or mentality have a single word which would denote the same thing which the Russian voice. Wikipedia defines it as a philosophy of behavior of a person who decides to ignore possible problems and still hopes there will be no negative consequences. It implies three conditions. First, there must be choice. If you decide to do something risky just because you have no choice, it has nothing to do with the Russian voice. So there should be choice. One of the options available to you should have a very low, almost undistinguishable from zero, probability of success. And a huge probability of failure. You can almost certain you will fail. And still, you know about the choices, you know about the probabilities, and still you choose to pursue this option. This is the Russian voice. Let me give you an example. In Russian folklore, a mighty warrior often comes to a crossroad, and there is a big rock with 3 arrows on it. And it says, if you go to the right, you will lose your horse. If you go forward, you will die. If you go to the left, both your horse and you will die. Let me ask, where the warrior would go? Of course, he would go to the left. He will find a cave. He will kill a 3-headed dragon. He will save the princess. He will marry the princess. He will become a king of a rich kingdom, and they would live happily ever after. No. Hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of warriors before him came to the same crossroad, read the same directions, went the same way, and no one ever heard of them again. But who cares, right? I hope by now you started getting this feeling, this charm of the Russian voice. But how do you survive when you choose to pursue this way in this life where so many dragons and certainly not enough princesses? Well, you get an insurance. So we have a counter principle to the Avos principle, which is called Avos'ka principle. And it's also based on the same uncertainty principle. Now, in the Soviet Union, life was so well planned that it was completely unpredictable. which means, for example, that every day you wouldn't know what grocery products would be available at the store today. On the other side, majority of us didn't have a car. We would take a bus or a trolley or walk, a very healthy way of living, by the way. So how do you prepare yourself to this unpredictable life? And part of this preparation was a small string bag. Everybody, men or women, would keep in their pockets or bags. That's what it looked like. It was very small when it was empty. It was made out of a synthetic material, like nylon. So it would be very easy to clean. It would last very long. We still, in our house back in Ukraine, have one which is older than I am. And it could stretch if you happen to come by something you would need, bread or a bottle of milk. Avos'ka. So what was my Avos'ka on that day when my husband was driving to the Las Vegas? It was my AAA membership, which works just like a magic. Avos Avos'ka, an Avos'ka principle, based upon understanding that our life is uncertain. But the Avos'ka principle helps us to get best out of this uncertainty. I have been a AAA member since I got my first driver license here in the United States, about 10 years ago. Ironically, my husband refused to get the companionship membership. And I probably know that you knows what he told me. What is a chance that I will run out of gas and get stuck in the middle of nowhere without you in my car? I haven't been able to prove him wrong yet.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here to evaluate Tatiana, who is probably one of the most august speakers of our club. And today, she did number 3 in the Humorously Speaking Manual, which is our advanced communication manual, one of them. And I'm honored to evaluate you today, Tatiana. You told me to be harsh, so I will be harsh. But first, I have to tell you all of the things that you did so well. Now, the objective of the speech was for her to start with a humorous story and end with a humorous story and interject jokes in between so that she could get her point across. And we all have to agree that she did that in still august fashion. And I know for you, it was about the time, and getting all of that content in. And I would suggest that you always ask Hussein to be the timer, and then for that. But what you did so well, Tatiana, was you took something that was funny, but then you built on it again and gave the added oomph of humor. For the intro, you made us do that closed eyes thing so that we could imagine it, and you were the only one up here that didn't that raised your hand, right? But then you say it's your husband. So that was really funny to build that. And you did it again at the end. I saw that the red light went on, and I was like, how is she going to tell a humorous story for her conclusion? But you did the same thing. You had your husband make up this, what was the word? Thank you, Monique. I have it here, hold on. The odds, explaining the odds of what are the chances that I'm going to get stuck in the desert and be stranded. right? We can think that we're smiling, we're laughing, and then you say, without you in the car. So again, very, very well done. Some suggestions. Your delivery is impressive. You have that down, but I know you strive for excellence. So we really need to clean up the prepositions and verb tenses. You had a few, and I'll tell you about them afterwards, but you did have a few that, and I know English is your second language, but we're going to be excellent. The other thing is I suggest that you slow down, because you were talking about 3 parts of the Avos, and because you were really packing it in, I only got 2. I got the choice and then that it's certain failure, but I'm not sure what the third one was. And so you need to really craft your speech so that you can really take the points you want to emphasize, but do it in have the pauses and the time. But other than that, it was such a pleasure to listen to your speech and evaluate you, and I look forward to hearing your next one. Thank you.